What's up, y'all? This is your girl Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen, to all of my returning subscribers. But if this is your first time joining me on today, be sure to hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So I am coming at y'all once more with another celebrity reading, but it's primarily to examine a current situation that a lot of people have been talking about. I've been getting hella requests to do ASAP Rocky, his birth chart. I mean, he's been in the headlines unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks. Okay, you already know what the tea is. Supposedly, well, not supposedly, I mean, I guess it just is what it is. He was in Sweden and he got into a fight. Now, he documented himself like on video being followed, he and his team being followed by some Swedish motherfuckers. Now, soon thereafterwards, ASAP lost his patience, lost his marbles, and resorted to putting his hands and feet on these Swedish natives, okay? Squabbling up, dog walking, trashing, however you want to phrase it. He whooped their ass, okay? And as a result, he was arrested. A lot of people, including myself, I'm not going to lie, were like, I kind of don't really give a fuck, you know, particularly black women, because you know how the internet does. The internet doesn't forget anything, okay? The internet stores all of your comments, your tweets, and at any moment in time that we need to, we will resort back to the past, pull up those receipts, and re-examine the situation. And a lot of people refer back to when ASAP Rocky was speaking negatively towards dark-skinned women, saying dark-skinned women shouldn't wear red makeup. But also, he made some very interesting comments about Black Lives Matter. To sum it up, this is during, you know, the Trayvon Martin era, the Mike Brown era. He was interviewed and asked what his stance was on the situations, on the police shootings, and he responded with, like, that's not my thing. I kind of can't relate. He didn't really say I don't care, but that was like the takeaway vibe that I got. Like, well, I can't relate. I like to talk about the things that I like to talk about, which is being jiggy. Like, I don't know why he kept trying to make the word jiggy happen. Like, give it up. It will not happen, but that's a different story. Okay, never mind. But yeah, he's just like, I want to continue to wear jiggy clothing. I want to talk about the women I date, the things that happen around me. I don't know that. I don't want to speak on that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay, it's above me now. And ironically enough, you know, he finds himself in a situation. Now, whether it's racially charged in Sweden, I don't know. I don't know. You know, some people are saying like, well, yeah, they wouldn't have detained a white individual for as long as they've been detaining him and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I ain't been to Sweden. I don't know what their racial climate is like over there. And I don't like to judge. I don't like to jump to conclusions, so to speak. However, the irony is still pretty much like, it's uncanny. It's very interesting because now you have celebrities, and primarily only celebrities, who I've seen really just going out on a limb. Free ASAP Rocky. They're trying to rally everybody's support, and everybody's like, you know, even if you don't actively hate him, it's just like, most people are kind of just indifferent. It just is what it is. And I mean, I tend to feel that way with most celebrities because, at least as a celebrity, you have access to money and resources and other celebrities to help get you out of whatever situation you find yourself in. My poor black ass gets locked up in Sweden, and, you know, I don't even have that. So I kind of don't care. I don't have an opinion one way or another. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I did not like the comments that he made in regards to black women as well as Black Lives Matter. But, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't affect me. I kind of automatically assume celebrities. Like, I know the colorist rappers. I know rappers. Most rappers don't even really, they can't relate to our plight anyway. So when he admitted that he didn't, to a certain degree, I kind of appreciated his honesty. Because most celebrities would just try to pander to you and make you feel like they're on your side as the general public, when in actuality, you might even share my same skin complexion, but you exist in a completely different tax bracket, in a different area as far as status goes. So we're still not going to have the same experience. But I digress. Y'all know I got to get my little tidbit before I actually get down to the astrological facts, okay? And I do separate my opinion from my readings, because that's something that, not lately, but usually, people who are not familiar with my channel, new people just kind of floating through, aren't really used to astrologers giving their opinions on certain situations. And I'm the type of person, I'm very humble, and I try to be as objective as possible, meaning I can have my opinion, like my Megan's personal opinion, but if the person's chart or any other astrological indicators points me in a different direction, I will gladly modify my view to incorporate that. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on Mr. A$AP Rocky. So A$AP Rocky was born on October 3rd, 1988 in New York, which makes him a Libra sun, Cancer moon. Now, let me pull up my notes, y'all. Now, the title of this video is Sticky Saturn Return, because, and I think even one of my subscribers mentioned, which kind of is what made a light bulb go off in my head. She was like, I think he's going through a Saturn return. And I was like, let me see. Honey, I put up his chart and I'm like, oh yes, like Saturn is running through his chart strong. Okay. And Saturn return is typically, it occurs from anywhere from 27 years of age to around 30, maybe 31. It just kind of depends. But I can see that he's definitely going through like some serious Saturn transits, long-term transits, as well as just like his personal Saturn return. So we're going to get into that. But as far as just his overall chart is concerned, some aspects that stuck out to me were, the fact that number one, with him being a Libra sun, Cancer moon, his sun and moon are squaring his Neptune in Capricorn, which naturally sets up people for scandal, especially sun square Neptune. Literally, like it makes a person a prime candidate for like scandal, things that can impact their public standing, them losing face. It can deal with, particularly in this case, run-ins with the police and institutions. As his Neptune is in Capricorn, Neptune deals with institutions, prison, jail, being institutionalized, and Capricorn deals with the police. And I'm not talking about your police standing on the corner handing out traffic tickets. We're talking about like the big cheese, like detectives, FBI type individuals. So he kind of has this theme in his chart, especially with him being a Libra sun and Mercury. He has a lot of Libra placements in his chart, and Libra does deal with the legal system also. So he has certain indicators of him being, having like a kind of like a karmic situation with authorities, that kind of thing. So there's that. Now, getting into the Saturn, the juiciness of the Saturn tea. A$AP Rocky's Saturn is, it's at the 26th degree of Sagittarius. Now, Saturn as a planet deals with restrictions, it deals with delays, but it also brings hard lessons, all right? So that's why the Saturn return, which is the point where Saturn makes a full orb around the sun. And it typically takes, like I said, approximately maybe 29 years. Some people say 27. You can still feel it at around 31. It just depends on who you ask. Certain astrologers have their different takes on it, but typically within that 27 to 29 year range is when the Saturn return pops off. Each Saturn return, and even though, because it's such a slowly rotating planet, some people don't even make it to like their first or second Saturn return. But if you do, it's such a major event in your life, because whatever sign and whatever house placement your Saturn falls in, it can bring about some major lessons and major karmic experiences in that particular area. Okay, Saturn is your karma. It's what you deserve. It's the seeds that you sown in past lifetimes as well as early on in life, and it brings all of these little lessons to the surface. And it's it can be some pretty traumatic shit, because you would like to think of learning as a good thing, a sweet, enjoyable experience, but we all know life is a hard teacher. Life is a bitch, okay? So these Saturn returns, whatever theme that's attached to your Saturn, can really, if you don't really address it and re-examine certain things within your life, can come back and kick your ass. So with him having his Saturn in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the natural ruler of the 9th house, and it deals with long distance travel, for one, okay, foreign countries, foreign cultures, which, I mean, he was in Sweden when he got arrested, but A$AP Rocky has been known to be very a very cultured person. He's very much an international type of celebrity, and Sagittarius deals with internationality. It deals with is internationality a word, y'all? I just be making shit up. But you know what I mean. It deals with, world renowned kind of people, places, or things. And he's very much open about his love for traveling, his love for foreign experiences, including women, foreign women, foreign cultures. He's definitely made himself this kind of like fashion connoisseur. He pretty much prides himself on like things that are, exotic and extravagant and exquisite, right? All of that has that Sagittarian energy signature to it. It also deals with, it could be the law. Sagittarius, it deals with like on a larger level legalities in the law. It can also deal with higher minded ideals and philosophies and the way that you look at the world, as well as religion and spirituality and all that other good shit. So people who have their Saturn and Sagittarius could have grown up in rather religious or restrictive homes, because Saturn does deal with restriction, right? Or delays. These people could have had other people pushing off their religious or philosophical experiences on them earlier on, which could have had an adverse reaction and caused them to be the type of people who are like very much, they could be contrarians. They can exist on two ends of like the extreme. So these people could be the people who are like super religious, super spiritual, or have their like, are very strict about whatever the fuck it is that they believe in. Or they could be on the other end of it and be like very much, I don't believe in shit. I'm a free spirit. I'm all about my freedom. When it comes to just, even when it comes to philosophical beliefs, religious beliefs, don't push your shit off on me. I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do. And that makes me think about even with the Black Lives Matter thing, because that's very much like a social issue, a political issue. Sagittarius does deal with politics even. And it's like, everybody else was saying one thing, but A$AP Rocky is like, yeah, bitch, fuck y'all. I don't care what y'all think. Okay, you say Black Lives Matter, whatever. It might matter to you. I can't relate. So don't ask me about this shit. I don't care. I don't relate to it. You know what I mean? Like taking a stance that's very much like, you're not going to control me. You're not going to tell me how to think. I'm going to form my own beliefs on whatever the situation may be. Like, because it's my truth and that's what I want to do. That's very much Saturn and Sagittarius. Now, as a result, people who have Saturn and Sag, now I don't know his time of birth, so I don't know what house it would fall in, but it could create people who undergo many transformative issues that are designed to help them shape their ideology and their perspective in certain outlooks on life. Okay, so there's that. Now, whenever Saturn and Sag is negatively aspected by like malefic planets such as Mars, Pluto, and in his case, interestingly enough, his Mars is in Aries and it's squaring his Saturn. His Saturn is also conjoined to his Uranus, which once again reinforces him getting into very or finding himself in lots of upheavals as it pertains to foreign countries, foreign experiences. Well, number one, it could create a situation to where if you're living in a different country or visiting in a different country for long, you probably won't be accepted by the residents. It can create situations where there could be cultural clashes between you and the natives in that particular land, obviously giving way to incidents or whatever. But with him being in Aries, Mars is dignified in Aries because Mars naturally governs Aries. So in a certain respect, it functions well in this sign. However, okay, it doesn't mitigate some of those negative qualities. Aries Mars individuals are very much hotheads, which is why ASAP Rocky has always been the type of person to pap a nigga up. Now, I feel like it, for obvious reasons, with him being in a foreign land, they're functioning under different laws, different situations. It became a bigger issue for him in this instance. I remember a couple of years ago where he got into a scuffle at some Hollywood event. Was it a Hollywood event? Y'all drop in the comment section, let me know. Or it was like in the elevator or something, but it was publicized and they were saying that he was fighting for women or something like that. But ASAP Rocky, don't let the pretty boy thing fool you, okay? Or the fashion thing fool you. He is very hot-headed, and Aries and Mars are all about combat, okay? These are Mars is a warrior planet. Aries is a warrior sign. These people are not afraid to fight. They will not back down from a fight, okay? And because they're impulsive in nature, they tend to be the type to, before they can even take the time to think things through all the way, they just snap. You know what I'm saying? On go. And I guarantee you that's exactly what happened in Sweden. Even though he recorded himself, like, okay, these people are following us, I'm going to try to, avoid the situation. As an Aries, Mars, that shit was just bound to snap, crackle, and pop, especially squaring his Uranus. Uranus deals with situations that are out of our control because Uranus is very sudden. You know what I'm saying? Sudden, unexpected, spur of the moment change. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this could absolutely, his Mars squaring his Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius can produce situations to where he's getting into fights in other countries, or he's getting into situations due to him being naturally hot-headed, impulsive, and destructive. This aspect can also create a fascination with foreign culture, but obviously with it being a square, it does come with its fair share of upheavals while out abroad. Also, ASAP's asteroid Icarus is at the 8th degree of Sagittarius. Now, Icarus is the asteroid that deals with your downfall, okay? Where you get ahead of yourself. It can point towards accidents, excessive risks, gambles that don't pay off, instances where maybe you're moving too fast, kind of thing. And it came about from a story in Greek mythology where a dude named Icarus basically was instructed, he was supposed to be going on a journey. You guys who are really big in Greek mythology, feel free to add on to the story in the comment section. But basically, he was instructed to go on a journey. And in order to do so, he had to fly. And so they made him some wings that were built with it was tar and feathers attached to it. And he was instructed to fly at a very specific angle. They were like, well, don't go too high on the horizon because the sun could burn through the tar. Don't go too low on the horizon or below the horizon because that could fuck you up as well. You need to tread lightly and, keep that straight shot in order to make this journey successfully. And as he was traveling, Icarus I guess he was feeling himself and flew too high. All right. And as a result, the sun burned through the damn tar. His wings dissipated. He fell in the sea and drowned. Okay. So hence Icarus being the type of asteroid that can point towards your downfall, or where you just feel like you're too big for your britches, you hard-headed, things of that nature. Okay. So his Icarus is, like I said, at the 8th degree of Sagittarius, which means it's opposing his Jupiter. Jupiter in and of itself deals with travel, and it because it governs Sagittarius. So once again, kind of taking it back to that Sagittarian theme that we were talking about, problems with traveling and things of that nature. Icarus opposing Jupiter can absolutely bring about issues that occur while being a long way from home. It can also create somebody who is a bit of a cultural snob. And this is compounded with his Icarus conjoined to Atlantis. Now, Atlantis is an asteroid that deals with where somebody has excessive pride, and it can also deal with cultural snobbery in and of itself, and things of that nature. So, yeah. Atlantis and Icarus opposing his Jupiter absolutely could deal with, number one, feeling like he's above the law, even while he's in these foreign lands. So feeling like he doesn't have to follow the customs, the culture. Not to say that that's necessarily what happened in this particular instance, but we only saw what we saw with the video. We don't know what led up to that. We don't know, other instances in which he was traveling abroad. So that's important to keep in mind as well. He could absolutely be somebody who has very little regard for the people there, for their customs and how they do things, their way of life. But then also, it can bring about somebody who is very much a cultural snob. Like, even as it pertains to, and I'm thinking about the Black Lives Matter comment, where he was like, "Oh, I live in Beverly Hills, darling." I mean, he didn't say it like that, but that's kind of how I took it, like, "Oh, darling, like that, I could never be poverty, police shootings. Oh, darling, that does not affect me. That's not of me and my kind. I cannot relate." Like, that's exactly the type of mindset that Icarus and Atlantis and Sagittarius can do, because it can make somebody very prideful, and even it can create a sense of narcissism that's attached to their or to them being so well cultured, you know what I mean, or well traveled, because they place so much value into these things that people who aren't maybe as well traveled as them, or people who are not as, evolved and cultured and sophisticated and so on and so forth, they could just be just on some local shit. Like, that ain't this. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole world is my playground. Like, this Jupiter thing. Like, my life is expansive. Why the fuck do I give a fuck about what the fuck niggas is doing in one particular city, one town, even in one little country? Like, I'm on some other shit. And interestingly enough, these comments came back to bite him in the ass, and he was forced to encounter a situation overseas that had to, I would think would make him re-examine those statements. But those statements, they didn't go anywhere, and people are definitely holding him accountable to those things. That's very much Icarus and Sagittarius, okay? Now, also, his karma, his asteroid karma, and karma is just like the name says, it deals with your karma, the seeds that you've planted in a previous life or in your early life, and the type of the fruit that can come from that. And his karma is at the 17th degree of Libra, and it's squaring his moon. So, karma in Libra deals with you having a lot of karmic situations. Number one, like I said, with the legal system, that ongoing theme of him having issues with the legal system. But then also, it's actually one of the more tougher placements for karma, because it could force somebody to bring about balance. Okay, those Libra scales. You have some type of karmic experience rooted in a need for balance, and in order to find the perfect balance, oftentimes you're shifting between one extreme or another. Life is handing you experiences that are extreme, like one end of the extreme or another end of the extreme, and it's up to you to learn how to balance those energies. And with it squaring his moon, this shit can happen publicly. Like it's actually not a surprise that it's happening publicly, actually. And his karma forms an exact conjunction to Nemesis, which is an asteroid that deals with somebody's worst enemy. Okay, making his own karma his worst enemy. You know what I mean? This aspect can also produce somebody who could be a bit of a snob. Like I said, somebody who could be judgmental, very judgmental with that Libra energy. So that judgmental behavior that, I'm above the law, or I'm above the status quo, I'm too good. Karma in Libra even forces a person to examine their thoughts and what they believe to be true, because you can have a certain mindset, but then life like literally shows you the opposite thing to be true. Okay, or life, you can have a belief or form an opinion, and then life could come along and contradict that in a way that, like I said, forces you to kind of go back to the drawing board and try again and learn again. If you're the type of person to, like, if you're not hard-headed, basically. So, and with Libra being a cardinal sign, I mean, it might have been worse if, his karma was in maybe Taurus or something, like a fixed sign, because it's kind of hard to shift your mode of being. But it's going to take a mindset change for him. And I feel like this situation in and of itself is going to cause him to look inward and really evaluate how he looks at social issues, how he looks at social justice. Libra does deal with justice, you know what I mean? But ultimately, that judgmental kind of behavior and judgmental mindset could definitely be his worst enemy. You know what I mean? So there's that. And then finally, I noticed that Saturn was opposing his moon. Okay, so he's experiencing a real nasty Saturn, a long-term Saturn transit. And Saturn opposed the moon can bring about experiences that force you to take responsibility. And in particular, especially with him being a Cancer moon, responsibility for yourself and responsibility for your emotions. I mean, with Saturn being in his home sign of Capricorn, this could force ASAP Rocky to mature. And I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're not more mature after experiencing something like this, something is wrong. And once again, taking it back to Capricorn, dealing with the law, dealing with the FBI and like the higher level of like the police force, that could absolutely be part of or one of the negative manifestations of this Saturn transit for him. And just it really taking a toll or affecting his career in a way. So yeah, that concludes my reading on ASAP Rocky. This shit was inevitable. It was bound to happen. So yeah, that's just pretty much the way it go. All right, so y'all drop down in the comment section, let me know what you thought of this reading. Feel free to share any suggestions or give me any suggestions for future celebrity readings. And right now you're looking at a picture of a baby hippo, because baby hippos are cute. So until next time, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.